For wrestling diehards only, this is the Idaho Mat Chat Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.
That's right. Welcome in. It is another edition of the Idaho Mat Chat Prepcast here on IdahoSports.com, where we bring you the biggest wrestling headlines, storylines, previews, matchups, all that fun stuff, week in, week out in the great state of Idaho. My name is Brandon Bainey. Let's bring in our esteemed panel of experts. First up, you know him as Coach Al Fontes from the Treasure Valley. Al, what's up?
Not much. Happy to be here. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, good to see you. Also joining us tonight from East Idaho, Brian Zollinger. Hello, Brian.
Hey, guys. What's going on, diehards?
Good to see you, gentlemen. We will get to the show here in just a minute. But first, the Idaho Mat Chat Prepcast is brought to you by Green Solutions Cleaning and Restoration. Two brothers born in Rexburg that have been blessed to find a way to work with one another. Their dad put them on the wrestling mat at 5 years old, and throughout their childhood, they had a lot of success in both high school and college. And through wrestling, they learned that having success not only takes hard work, but it's all about putting in more time than your opponent as well. And in their business, they've put in the time and energy to make them great at what they do. They say, we feel we have an edge and can help our customers have a great experience. We are the premium carpet cleaning company in the area. And our main focus over the last 3 years has been in water damage, emergencies, and disasters. No one wants to wake up to a foot of water in the basement. That being said, they've learned how to de-escalate the situation and help the customer through the difficult time. They say, we love East Idaho, and we're grateful for this area and our loyal customers. So again, big thanks to Green Solutions for not just sponsoring the Mat Chat Prepcast, but anything wrestling on IdahoSports.com. Whether that is our rankings, whether it's those great written pieces that Al produces. Al just did a Mat Chat last week, Brian, with your brother, Brock Zollinger. That was a great read, by the way, Al. Fantastic job.
Great write-up, Al. Good work.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Green Solutions sponsors everything we do wrestling here at IdahoSports.com. We always kick off the show with the best thing that we saw from the week that was. I'm seeing lots of people that are joining us live tonight on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, X account, and the Idaho Wrestling News Facebook page as well. If you're hanging out tonight, you want to be part of the show, throw your comments in the chat. We'll throw them up on the screen. And we want you, the fans, to drive the conversation. Also, while you're hanging out tonight, if you could hit that like button or that subscribe button and then share this when it's all said and done, that helps everybody who wasn't here live find the show a little easier on replay. That is much appreciated. So if you hit that like button and share it, that helps out so much. So we appreciate it for sure. Our first comment is from, wow, guys, Jason Mara. How about that? What's up, guys? Glad to see you all. Al, we got some star power in the chat tonight.
Oh, yeah. Stanford.
Yeah, no doubt. Off to a good start. Jason's doing good work over there at Stanford. It's awesome to see him at the open tournaments and doing Idaho proud, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Al, what was the best thing you saw from the past week of wrestling action?
I went to Jaybird this weekend. I was really impressed. The competition's getting better and better every year. It was a full house. The level's increasing, especially as you're getting closer to medal rounds. But I saw something this weekend that inspired me. It was about the human spirit, what us wrestlers about, never giving up, always fighting. I had the opportunity to meet the number 2 ranked in the state at 126, Caddy Taverdi of Garden Valley High School. Now, Garden Valley is 50 miles north of Boise, about an hour. They got roughly 400 and something people in that town. She was the only girl in the school. Last year, she was a state qualifier. Starts the year out, ready to go, has these goals to go on and place at the state tournament. Well, not even a few weeks into it, due to some budget cuts in the school, they were going to cut her sport of wrestling at thing. She didn't say no for an answer. Got the community together. She raised tons of money. The community came to raise some money, and she's back to wrestling and able to do it. She's the lone girl in that school. Her parents are the coach there. So just the spirit of wrestling, seeing someone, she's a true leader. And that just inspired me just to show you, here's a school with one girl, and she has that spirit to win and get better. So I just want to throw that out there. That was really impressive for me to see.
That's awesome. I remember when Garden Valley was first getting started in girls wrestling, they had a girl named Gracie Castillo, and she actually did both out. She played basketball and wrestled. I think she was a cheerleader too. She was doing it all, really soaking up those experiences. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yep. That's what you got to do at that 1A level, Brian. What was the best thing you saw from the past week, Brian?
Two things. One's just a comment. It's good to see some of these kids getting healthy, coming back. I hope we see more of the kids getting healthy. I was up at Madison. Braxton Hanna was back. He won the Madison. Now he's got a 3-0 record with the Madison Invitational being his first tournament. So it was fun seeing him back. But overall, I think the girls' duel up at Lake City, the final duel, Thunder Ridge and Sandpoint, full lineups. I think there was 1 4-foot in the entire duel, and so that's pretty cool to see. Two full girls teams going at it. It came down to the last match. I think it was like 30 to, I haven't seen it live. I'm just following on track, but it looked like it was 30-31. Sandpoint was up going into the last match, and Thunder Ridge got the fall to win it. So that's pretty cool to see, full girls lineups in a dual tournament. I don't think there's a lot. We probably have about 10 teams in the state now that can fill every single girl's weight. So that's good to see that we're there. Having full girl on girl duels, pretty cool to see, and to have the drama to come down the last match was awesome.
Yeah, that's epic for sure. In the chat, guys, real quick, we were giving high praise to Jason Mara. He says, thank you. And here's Tiffany and Brian. Whoa, Jason Mara, the legend. Glad to see you still love Idaho. Of course, Brian, Idaho proud for sure. Okay, the best thing I saw from the week that was, guys, was at the 51st annual Buhl Invitational. Yeah, the Buhl Invite over there in Buhl. And I could talk about Gabe Finley and the incredible streak he's on. I think it's up to 87 matches now consecutively. That's one. Al, he hasn't lost since the 3rd place match at state his sophomore year. Undefeated all through last year, undefeated up to his senior year now so far. 87 wins in a row. But I'm actually going to go with a junior from Wood River, Garrett Larson. He won the 165-pound title at the Buhl Invite this past weekend. Wood River is not a program or a school we talk about a lot in terms of wrestling. Now, Wood River is a school that's known for like soccer, and then in the wintertime, it's kind of up in the Sun Valley, so there's a lot of kids that ski, actually, and we have like international skiers that compete there, and some of those traditional sports like wrestling and football and stuff like that don't get as much acclaim. But Garrett Larson wins the 165-pound title, and what makes this most incredible, guys, is that 6 weeks before the season started, he broke his collarbone in a mountain biking accident. That's another sport that's really popular if they're mountain biking. So he breaks his collarbone just kind of getting back into action, and he wins the 165-pound title, Brian. That's an incredible comeback story.
Yeah, that's like I said, it's awesome to see these kids getting healthy and to come back like that and hit the mat and win a tournament. That's pretty cool to see.
Yep, first competition. So Garrett Larson, junior from Wood River, the best thing I saw from the week that was. Here's Amanda in the chat, guys. Let's go Post Falls girls. So proud of their growth. River City Duels was awesome. First time we had girls wrestle at River City. Yeah, it was awesome for sure. And we will talk about that and the Jaybird, of course, coming up at the bottom of the hour here on the Idaho Mat Chat Prepcast. That's when we do our girls wrestling discussion, is at the bottom of the hour. But Al, outside of the Jaybird, because I do think that was kind of the biggest, headline event this past weekend, we had the Buhl Invite, we had the Madison Invite. Where do you want to start the conversation? What jumped out to you?
Let's just start with the Madison Invite. They won this team title with 247 points and had several kids win it. It looked like there was a team from Wyoming, Star Valley High School there, took second. Jerome was third, and Century, then South Fremont. It looks like it had some good parity there.
Yeah, there were some great finals matchups. I think Madison had like 7 kids in the finals. Really dominant. Like I said, Braxton Hanna, first tournament back, he won it. Solis won it. Edstrom, of course, won it. Jensen. So a really dominant performance by Madison. It's good to see that their full team is back. Like we said early, they're in the running there. They're top 4 or 5 teams in 5A. So it was good to see them at full strength. And Star Valley is tough. I mean, that's traditional powerhouse over in Wyoming. I think their girls have won like 2 or 3 straight state titles as a team, and the boys, same thing. It was a good tournament overall. Some really good finals matchups to see. Great tournament.
And did you mention Grayson Packard as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then,
him and Aiden Takita had another great finals matchup. I think this time it was 8-0. I mean, Packer is he's so technically sound. I mean, he does not make a mistake. Aiden Takita, obviously second at state last year, great wrestler. And, Packer's a freshman and comes in and 8-0, couldn't even score on him this match. So he's just technically sound, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah. And another kid at 50s, DJ Nieder, Idaho Falls. He's one of those kids I'm watching. He looks like he's going to challenge for the top spot this year.
Really
Kid.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with, I haven't heard an update on Martino. I keep meaning to ask if he's going to make it back this season. How does that change what BK does? Does Valdez, does he stay at 50? Does Martino go 50? Does one of them go 44, 57? What does Nieder do? We could have another matchup, Valdez and Nieder, for the third time. It's going to be crazy in the state finals match. It's really going to be fun to see what happens in that 50-57. Martino coming back could really shake things up there. And I haven't heard definitively. Maybe somebody knows if he's coming back. I meant to ask him last time I saw him, and maybe they wouldn't disclose that. I don't know. Strategic. So, I didn't. BK was at Rockwell Rumble, and I think they had 5 placers there. So they did
4 or 5 placers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Those two guys are trying to avoid each other. It's like being in a corn maze, and I'll go around this corner, and then you know what? They're just going to both end up in the center, going at it again.
And then the great thing is, I don't think either one of them scared of the other one. Obviously, Valdez has had the upper hand, but that Raleigh Lane matchup was when Nieder hit that salto, and Valdez somehow rolled through it. I mean, that came down to the last second. That was one of the better matches I've seen all season. So whatever happens there with DJ, that's he is fun. He's a fun one to watch for sure, and he handled the Star Valley kid in the finals pretty handily.
Yeah. And another kid is Rex Salas, right, the heavyweight at Madison. He's another kid that, if there was an all division of heavyweights, he definitely would be in the mix.
That heavyweight. You had Austin Reeves from Hillcrest there, who did really well, obviously at Raleigh Lane, and to end up third there. Salas is, he's a scary dude, and so is Austin Reeves. That's going to be a fun, different divisions, I guess, in state, so they could both win it, obviously. But it was a good matchup there.
Yeah, Reeves from Hillcrest, Salas from Rexburg, and I love it when I see names I recognize from other sports. And Rex Salas was a bad dude on both lines for Madison this past year.
Yeah, I think he signed with Idaho State, to play offensive line down at ISU. So
other champs from Madison, real quick. Rocky Jensen won at 98. Brandon Edstrom at 106, kind of a sleeper at 106. I think statewide. Keep an eye on Brandon Edstrom. I'm trying to think of who else won from Madison. We talked about Salas in the heavyweights. We had Ace Ingram at 144, Braxton Hanna at 157. And so, like you guys said, 6 champions from Madison at their own invite. That's a good way to show out for sure.
Cooking.
Yep, no doubt.
And we also had the girls division as well, right? The girls had a tournament. So
yeah.
And first year, or is this the first or second year they've had that there?
At least the second. I think it's actually the third year they've had the girls there. And it was competitive as well. Really good finals matchup. Star Valley, I think they brought like 29 girls or something, and they had I can't remember what they had, but they probably had 7 or 8 in the finals.
They scored like 227, right?
Yeah, really good team. And the Idaho girls in most of the finals matchups won the Star Valley. The one they won, they had Star Valley against Star Valley in the finals. But really good team. Malad really looked good. Mount Malad came in second. Preston third, and Green Canyon was fourth there. But there were some really competitive matches. Finals were, the Lydia Townsend from Marsh Valley, really good in the finals match. She won her finals match up against the Star Valley girl, and super impressed with the leg riding that she put on a clinic for top. So great matchups.
Yep.
Very
Here's
cool.
Kelly Smith in the chat, guys. Proud of those Malad girls at Madison. They took second overall behind Star Valley. So this is almost, I think, guys, a bigger weekend for girls competitions than boys.
Yeah.
Because you had the Jaybird, you had the River City duels with girls for the first time, the Andrew Beck Memorial Tournament, the Madison Invite. So really good competition all the way around for sure. So let's talk about that Buhl invite, guys. The 51st annual Buhl Invitational. This was a who's who of really 4A, 3A programs. In terms of the final scores, no surprise, Fruitland comes over and wins it 302.5. Buhl takes second. It was nice to see Homedale finish fourth. I thought that was a big step forward for the Trojans as well. Al, did you have any big takeaways from the Buhl invite?
No, to be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to see all those results, so I can't comment at this time.
Okay, spoken like a true politician.
Does that sound good?
That's great. Yeah. Like you said, Fruitland looked amazing. What I thought was fascinating is you also had the Padilla Invitational over in Parma, and 215. Obviously, Quinn Hood is just dominant at 215. But Fruitland's JV goes to the Parma tournament and wins that. So Fruitland kind of flexing their muscles and showing that their JV can. If they bring all those kids to state, they are dominant, but it could be great to see, champion at the same weight in two different tournaments was pretty impressive. Some of the other finals matchups, Ryder Sheen and Buhl looks, really, really good. And obviously you've mentioned Gabe Finley, now 29-0, 45-second fall in the finals. I mean, the dude is tough to beat. And it's interesting because Buhl did really well at the lightweights. I think Buhl came in second. And if you're watching the finals early on in the lightweights, it looks like Buhl is, got it really in the hunt. And then those upper weights, you get to past 50, and with McKenzie and Kaufman, Fruitland is just dominant in those upper weights from 50 on. And they've got, Alleman and some lightweight kids as well, but dominant definitely at those upper weights from 50 above. Yeah,
I was going to just all seriousness. Yeah, at 120, Marcus Allman, Fruitland. He's a junior. He's definitely a kid to watch. I mean, once he, I think, reaches his full potential, I think he can challenge for the state championship. He's got that kind of potential. So,
yeah, for sure. Fruitland, do they set that record again this year for points? I don't know. We'll see. And I think the other incredible thing about Gabe Finley is he probably weighs 220. And he is wrestling in the heavyweight division against guys that are, 50, 60 pounds heavier than him. And he is just slaying guys left and right. Yeah. Hey, Al, I wanted to ask your opinion on this freshman from Homedale that keeps winning at the lightweight, Jacoby Valley. He did really well at the Raleigh Lane, of course, wins again here at the Buhl invite. This is a kid who's kind of burst onto the scene from Homedale.
Yeah, I watched him wrestle. He's got talent, a lot of potential. I think if he continues to grow, I mean, he definitely puts the time in the off season. He will be a contender to go on to the next level. I mean, he's got that kind of trajectory, I think.
Yeah, and Homedale in those light weights, they had a kid in the finals in 98, 107, and 113. With Painter and Swan. So, in the room that always makes for a really good wrestling room when you've got, and I think two of them are freshmen. Painter is a sophomore, but Swan and Valley freshmen, obviously. So, for years to come, their lightweights, or those three, are going to be good and just beat each other up in the wrestling room and only going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Iron sharpens iron. That is for sure. Hey, here's Ryan Marr in the chat, guys. Middleton over Caldwell tonight, 66-16.
Wow.
That's kind of an eye opener, Al. A little bit.
No, Middleton's tough. Although they dropped down to 5A, they would have done really well if they stayed up in the 6A. Either or, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. And I think they ended up third at the Padilla Invitational up in Parma behind American Falls and Weiser. And I haven't looked detail if they had everybody there, but there were some good matchups, there too from Middleton. They did well there.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Bridget. And guys, I've been saying Ryder and by extension, Bridget's name wrong this whole time. Finally, I had a Post Falls fan email me and say it's Sagine, rhymes with fine. So Ryder Sagine, Bridget Sagine. Bridget says some amazing matches at River City duels, girls and boys. Yeah, let's talk about the boys. Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, Lakeland, they all get to kind of the championship rounds, if you will, day 2, and Post Falls basically, comes through and delivers. They win the team title. They beat Meade, Washington in the finals, Brian, 46-28. That is now Post Falls' 9th River City win since the tournament began in 1998.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good win. And there were some great individual matchups up there as well. One I've been looking forward to was Seth Martin and Jordan Tyler. And this match, Seth Martin, but you got 2 of the best in the state, obviously, at that weight class. And so I've been looking forward to that one. And I think I have not seen the video from it yet, but looked like Seth Martin got a 3rd period fall over Jordan Tyler. So some huge individual matchups, but we knew Post Falls looked good. It would have been fun to have them at Raleigh Lane just to see in a tournament how it goes between them and Middleton, because Middleton looked great at Raleigh Lane. But, I still think Post Falls is probably the Meridian reloaded, and they look really good. Some, great wrestlers, but I think Post Falls is still the team to beat this year there. They look super good up there.
Yeah, they would have definitely impacted Raleigh, because there's a lot of kids that made it into the quarters or semis. If they were there, they may not have happened. It would have changed the dynamic pretty well. So,
and you just can't count Meridian out. I mean, Coach Muir does such a great job year after year. And then those kids come in and they are physical specimens. They're all in shape and, technical. So that's going to be one of the funner races to watch, Post Falls Meridian at the state tournament.
Yeah, because Meridian's younger kids are starting to rise to the challenge, right? You're starting to see them make the finals, win those close matches. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
And Post Falls had some injuries last year, that affected some of the state. They had some kids that couldn't make it back. So, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. You feel like with Post Falls, there's some unfinished business to this year's team. Certainly. Yeah. Guys, Mike on YouTube says the Post Falls Sandpoint duel went 81 to -1. That's about as dominant as it gets.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah. Here is Irv Williamson in the chat, guys. He's got 2 comments here. His first one is Post Falls would have smashed Meridian. Not taking anything away from Meridian. Now the second comment here, he is the coach at Lakeland. And he says, good luck to Post Falls at state. I think our Hawks will surprise a lot of people at state. We have a couple tricks in our bag that might have been ruled out. And so, I wanted to talk about Lakeland got to that 3rd place duel against Coeur d'Alene on Saturday at the River City duels. They fell 53-27. But, Lakeland, Sandpoint, they've got their annual battle for the paddle duels coming up this Friday. Lakeland is a team that has been flying under the radar a little bit, Brian. And I look at the lineup and I look at guys like, I'm thinking like Cash Lund always seems to be getting stronger as the season goes along. The Knopp guys, Cade Knopp, and I'm trying to remember what the other Knopp's name is. They've got some guys. Zach Teal in the lighter weights is a dude as well. Like Lakeland, this lineup has guys up and down it.
They do. Carson Leonard, Zach Teal, in the rankings that we've got them at number 1 right now. And in Lakeland, we've got them, 4 right now in the rankings. But outside of Minico, that next 4, Middleton, BK, Lakeland, Century, is, it's week to week. And so I definitely think Lakeland could make some noise because they've got some dogs in the lineup. That's for sure.
Yep. Yeah. Jaron Knopp was the other Knopp I was trying to think of there. Thank you, Coach Williamson. Appreciate it. So it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. I'm excited to announce that this Friday, IdahoSports.com will be broadcasting the annual battle for the paddle matchup between Lakeland and Sandpoint. The way they do it is it starts with a girls basketball game. Then they put the wrestling mats down and do duels between Lakeland and Sandpoint. Then they pick the mats up and they do a boys basketball game. So we're going to be bringing you the basketball action. We're going to be doing the wrestling duels in between as well. The coverage is going to start at 4:00 Pacific time. That's 5:00 Mountain time Friday evening. The wrestling should be somewhere around like 6:30-ish, 7:30-ish. Somewhere in that time range. So just tune into IdahoSports.com if you want to see some good wrestling now. This is going to be fun. Our first wrestling broadcast of the season.
That's awesome.
Has IdahoSports.com done a duel before for wrestling?
Ooh, I don't know. I know back in the past we did the bigger like the River City duels and stuff like that, but I don't know if we've done a duel before. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that. See your coverage. Are you calling it?
So I'll be doing the color.
Okay.
We've got Ryan Skaggs, who knows a lot more about wrestling than I do. He'll be doing the play-by-play. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to tune in just to see how Ryan does. He's gonna knock it out of the park, I'm sure. But it'll be fun. I'm excited that Idaho Sports is doing that. Maybe, who knows? Maybe in the future they can cover some of those big duels, because that would be, I don't mind watching them on track if they're on track or something. But let's crowd flow out of the mix and have Idaho Sports cover Idaho wrestling.
Yeah, like a state tournament. Wouldn't that be fun in the finals?
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be way cool.
Well, from your
you
lips,
see where we're going with this?
Yeah, from your lips to God's ear, guys. That's for sure.
Just not checkers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we close the book on our boys wrestling talk, we'll let Meridian get the last word in here, talking about Post Falls potentially smashing Meridian. Tiffany and Brian Tway. Just saying, I don't think there'd be any smashing going on. So
I love the rivalry. It's going to be fun. Both great teams and, amazing athletes on both squads. So love the rivalry, and it is going to be fun.
Yep, for sure. This is the Idaho Mat Chat Prepcast, brought to you by Green Solutions, family-owned, expertly restoring water, mold, and fire damage, and working seamlessly with your insurance. We're going to seamlessly transition into our girls wrestling conversation, guys. Pleased to be joined, I believe, for the first time this year by both of our girls wrestling experts. Let's welcome in Val Johansson from North Idaho, and also Fred Bartlett is here tonight, guys, from Southern Idaho. Fred, hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us again.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good. Val, how are you this evening?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Yeah.
Excited to have you up at the paddle this Friday. That'll be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be an exciting time for sure. So let's start with the Jaybird Memorial Tournament that took place down in Southern Idaho. That was the premier event for girls wrestling. Al, I know you dug into the numbers and you had the data and you kind of shared it with everybody. In terms of participation, how did we look this year at the Jaybird?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yep.
No, the numbers look good. In fact, the numbers, I believe, were 424 girls wrestling this year. Compared to last year, it was down a little bit because remember we had the change of weekend because of the snow. So, but percent wise, we're on an upward trajectory. I mean, the competition was great. I think since the first tournament was in 2018, it's gone up to over 800% in participation. So it's awesome.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, you sent a ton of good information here. I didn't have time to make graphics for it, Al, so we're just going to have to recite it from the top. But La Grande, Oregon won it with 189 points. They had 2 champions, 5 medalists. Highest ranking Idaho team was Caldwell. They took 2nd. And then from there, CUNA 3rd, Rocky Mountain 4th, Eagle 5th. In terms of the individuals, Val, when you look at the lineup of all the winners, Jolie Slider and Charlie Noah were in different weight classes this time. I was glad to see them separated so they both could win. That's kind of what jumped out to me right away.
Yeah, the second I got home Saturday night, I was looking up these results because I wanted to see, did they split out? And so I was happy to see that they split out. I think that's great for both of those weight classes. Just want to give a shout out to Zoe at 138 from CUNA. She is just a senior this year and is just wrestling very well and he's just a different wrestler this year. And it's just good to see her focused and to see her hard work paying off this season.
Yeah, that's somebody that Al has featured previously in a Hidden Gems of Idaho Wrestling as well, Al. Incredible young woman.
Great
Absolutely.
family. Yes.
Yeah. Another name that I've been seeing pop up on my radar, and I'm glad Fred's on here now because you're a Magic Valley guy. What can you tell me about Keisha Hanks from Burley? She is just continuing to rise and rise and rise and perform really well this year.
Yeah, she's having a great senior season. I'm really excited for her. She was 2nd last year behind Olivia Bezdachek at state, but she's kind of coming into her own. I think she pinned everybody this last weekend at Jaybird. She looked good. So I'm really impressed with the Caldwell girls. There was 2 Caldwell girls that kind of jumped levels this weekend too. Maritza Medina at 107. I think she got third at 100. And then her teammate, Sienna Sanchez Benavides, she beat Taylor Drake in the final, but she also beat Raylan O'Connor in the semis. So she had a really good tournament. So,
yeah, Fred, because she was a state qualifier last year, second in the district. So she's come up that far in the last year.
Yeah, there's a couple of these weights where the girls are just going back and forth a lot. Elise Twait, I like that she's willing to take on the challenge. She went up a weight class and beat the Potlatch girl, which that was an exciting match. So that was good for her. And then there's a couple twin girls that I hadn't seen in there before that kind of made some waves. The Dowd girl at 132, and then a total newcomer. I haven't seen her wrestle yet at 185. What was her name? Sage Larson. She beat her teammate, I think, in the semis or maybe in the blood round and ended up getting third. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was surprised. Twin Falls, what were they, top? I think fifth, so top five, and I hadn't seen a lot from them. I mean, the parity. Yeah, the parity in the girls. It seems like every tournament, a different Idaho team is the top Idaho team. Like you said, this week it's Caldwell. I mean, it's been Eagle, Kuna. I mean, Sandpoint's had great weeks. That's going to be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I really think it's going to come down to how many placers you can get. And Rocky's looking pretty good. They just got Reese Meady back too, and she's tough.
She's tough. She pretty much dominated the weight group, pinning most of the people, right?
Yeah, so that's good for Rocky. Yeah, they got 6 or 7 girls there that can probably place. So probably what it's going to take, because it'll be really spread out. I think looking at last year's results, I think the top 10 teams, they averaged about 5 girls that they brought to the state tournament, and it was like 3 or 4 placers was in the trophy hunt. So I think Canyon Ridge won with 5 placers. So
can move the needle for sure.
Fred and Val, I was mentioning earlier, a girl that impressed me. She's the only girl on her team. In fact, they were going to cut wrestling from Garden Valley High School, Caddy to Verde. So, I mean, she's done a lot to be able to stay wrestling this year. So she's another one I watched this week, and it was pretty good. Lost to Cassia Hanks in the finals, who's number 1, obviously, but a lot of potential there. Great story.
That is a great story. I would love to meet her and reach out to her, because that's pretty awesome to keep that program in your school and, carry that flag is not easy to do. And that's pretty fantastic.
She's definitely a leader amongst her community. They were going to drop it due to budgetary. She was the only. It's a long story, but in the short, they were given an opportunity to raise the funds. She did it. Her parents are coaching her right now. She has the right attitude of a wrestler. So that's what really impressed me with her. So great story.
And it's a bit of a unique situation with Garden Valley. They're somewhat isolated. A lot of times you could just send that girl to the next school over and have her compete with another school that's got a full-fledged program, but Garden Valley is not close to anything. So that really probably wasn't an option on the table. So it was either, okay, get the funds or it goes away. So that's an incredible story of resilience, Al. That's awesome. For sure.
I mean, they're 50 something miles north of Boise. I went there once to do sleigh riding with my family and look at reindeers. It's pretty cool. Small little town.
Yep, for sure.
Fred, you had mentioned, did Tway go up to 52 just to wrestle McNeil? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I think right now she's just looking for competition, which that's pretty cool. And you've seen Kasia Hanks do that a couple of times. She's kind of been all over the place too. I like that the girls are like willing to toe the line and they're not afraid of the challenges. That's pretty cool to see those matchups.
It is, yeah. When I saw that bracket, I mean, you had 2 undefeated girls with Twait going up and McNeil after winning Raleigh, undefeated. I think both of them going to that finals matchup. So I wondered if she went up chasing that competition, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm interested to see over the next couple of weeks if the girls try to spread out a little bit, but there's really nowhere for them to go. There's tough girls in every weight, and it's just kind of like, who do you want to wrestle?
So Fred, this brings up a subject, and we can talk more another time, but right now we have 12 weight groups, right, in girls wrestling. Nationally, there's 14 weight groups. I was talking to Mike Stone, a few people about, the need to go to 14 weight groups. Hopefully that'll happen, because when I looked at all the weight groups of the girls, and when you look at it, the majority of girls, the highest number of girls are in that lightweight to middleweight, where there's like 60 girls in a weight, right? So if they were to go, because what's the mode for girls now? 7 pounds increments, right? And I think this national is like 5 pound increments. It seems like we'd get more girls to stay out, because there'd be at least a few more opportunities where they're bunched up in those smaller mid weights. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I hope that's the next move. I mean, it would be nice to match up with the NFHS, the 14. So we're on the 12 weight class one. It's still NFHS, but it's we just picked the 12 to start. I'd like to see us expand to the 14.
I feel like I was looking at 107s. There were 65 girls, 14, 61, 64 at 20s, then all the way up to 132. They had 68, but every other weight had like 20 to 30, 40 girls. So just that one bunch, if you were just to add a few more weights in there, it would spread it out a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd also match up with our summer wrestling stuff.
Exactly.
So yes, which makes it nice too. So
yeah,
and the surrounding states.
Yeah.
It'll match up with Washington and Montana and Oregon when we're traveling. It makes it a lot easier if we are just all consistent across the board.
Yeah,
and especially in those upper weights, we're going from 65 to 85 to 235. Mm-hmm. That's a huge span for those 3 weight classes.
Yeah, from 85 to, that's what, 50 pounds from 85 to 35, right? Difference.
Yeah. And college just aligned, because they added, now college has a 200 pounds. So if we can get something in that weight, it just will help that transition for girls now that they added a 200 pound up in college.
Yeah, because we've talked about numbers and how many are certifying, and the numbers keep going up. But the number I've always wanted to know is how many are sustaining through the season. What's that number at the end? And I hear it's dropping a little bit at the end and picking up again. But I think if we add these more weights and more girls will be sticking around, I think it would help, in my opinion.
Yeah. And also if they fully sanction women's wrestling in Idaho, I think that'll help tremendously as well.
Yep. It'll happen.
Yep. For sure. Just to get caught up on the comments, guys, Jose in the chat, shout out to those Caldwell girls, and Tiffany and Brian agree. The Caldwell girls wrestled really tough, and Sienna wrecked the 107 field. Yes, she did. Ryan Marr says Middleton and Caldwell girls 30-30. I'm wondering if that's in progress still, Ryan. You can let us know. They're dueling tonight. And then we were talking about Keisha Hanks from Burley. David and Michaela Molina, big Minico Spartan supporters. They say Hanks is a stud over there. And that's saying a lot coming from a Minico fan. That's a rivalry that runs deep, Fred, Minico and Burley.
Yeah, for sure. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about the competitions that took place up north. Val, River City duels for the first time, had girls competitions. What a big storyline that was. How did it go?
It was, first, let me give a shout out to Jeremy and the Post Falls crew. They ran an excellent tournament this weekend. They staggered weigh-in time, so we didn't have to wait 8 hours to weigh in. So it was really great how they were able to stagger weigh-ins, stagger pod times. We appreciated that a lot. On the girls' side, there was 87 girls among 8 teams this season, or this tournament. Our goal is 16 teams next year. So any coaches listening, this was a great run tournament, very well organized. Please bring your girls up. Sandpoint and Thunder Ridge come down to the finals in the gold bracket on Saturday, and that was just an all-out brawl every single match. And it was good. And, as a coach, I'll just jump in and say it's extremely heartbreaking. 35-31 was the final, and I think you guys can feel that pain and heartbreak. And it was just amazing to see that level of competition with these girls.
Yeah, final score was Thunder Ridge 35, Sandpoint 31, and your girls were down big. You swung back and took the lead briefly, and it was just a wild back and forth affair. Very good competition on both sides. So Thunder Ridge coming up was a pleasant surprise. It's hard to get teams to travel up to North Idaho sometimes, but we're seeing more and more of that. Outside of Thunder Ridge and Sandpoint, did anyone else, any other teams, individuals stand out to you, Val?
Yeah, Post Falls, their girls are getting better every week. They wrestled very well. Hanford from Washington. So we had 3 Washington teams, Hanford, Meade, and Lewis and Clark. Hanford brought a full roster. So they did pretty well. They were in the gold bracket with us on Saturday. So shout out to Washington just coming over. It was nice for, I know, all the North Idaho teams to just get a look at different girls. Most of us have just seen each other. And so for Washington to come over and give us those different looks was pretty great.
That's awesome.
I will say that the highlight, again, Thunder Ridge just came up and did an incredible job and wrestled tough. And that's why they're state champions.
That's great. Yep. Very good competition. And then I was trying to find some results from the Andrew Beck Memorial Tournament that took place in Grangeville. I was having a hard time tracking down any results there. It looked like there was boys and girls competing over there, but that was another tournament that was taking place this past weekend. So if anybody in the chat has anything to report from there, we would love to hear about that as well. So, and then in terms of the Madison Invite as well, Fred, they had some girls competing over there. Did anything stand out to you from East Idaho and the competition there?
Yeah, I'm impressed with the Malad girls. We still got 14 girls going for a small community. That's pretty awesome. They ended up second behind Star Valley. Star Valley's out of Wyoming. They're pretty tough. So that was cool to see them wrestle well there. Kale Carter impressed me. She ended up winning the tournament. I haven't seen her this year, so it's cool to see her back in their lineup. I don't know if she was hurt but it's cool to see her wrestling. So I think she'll move up the rankings. So yeah. I was impressed with that. I think Skyline, if they can get healthy, they could be really tough. Like they got some girls. They got how do you say their name? Ugali?
Yeah, Olagi.
Ulagi.
Yep.
So
yep. And I think Molly will be back for the first time at Tiger Grizz. So she's coming back.
Oh,
yeah,
that's exciting.
and Autumn hasn't wrestled in a while, and she's back, and she looks good, and she's throwing girls around. I watched one of her matches, and she looked good. So.
Yep. Yes, in the chat, Malad girls getting a lot of love here. Sherry Walters, Blaisdell. We're actually from the same small town in Montana. Grew up together, so that's always cool when you see a couple Idaho transplants. Yes, and then loving the action from Malad on the girls' side. And then if we look ahead to what's coming up this weekend, I love that we're to the point now, Val, where all of these tournaments that traditionally have had boys, like Tiger Grizz, for example. Well, now there's a Tiger Grizz girls, and it's just, we're having the same competition just for the girls' side. There are still some special girls-only events, but a lot of these big events have just kind of folded in the girls' competition and made it bigger and better.
Yeah, and teams are doing and schools are doing a very good job doing that. It's not. It used to be like it was thrown together. You'd get girls, every 6 or 7 hours. And now most tournaments have dedicated mats to girls. They flow through the tournament. Tiger Grizz this weekend. You have the Clearwater Classic up in Lewiston, which is always a fantastic tournament. They've got a girls division, and then over in Montana, you got the Hellgate Girls Tournament, which is always a big one and draws a lot of Idaho schools.
Yeah, and I saw one too. Aberdeen over in East Idaho is going to host the Tiger Brawl Girls Tournament as well. So we're going to see some schools like Bear Lake, Soda Springs, Aberdeen, West Side, some of those Southeast Idaho teams competing over there as well, which is great to see again. So, Fred, what is the competition you're most looking forward to seeing on the girls' side this week?
Tiger Grizz is pretty tough. I like seeing the interaction with the Wyoming schools that show up there. So I'm excited to see the results from that. We're actually taking our girls to Nevada. We're going to go to Spring Creek and try to wrestle some different girls, kind of like Val was saying, they had Washington come over. I think that's important. It seems like our best girls wrestle each other a lot, like almost every weekend for 8 weeks straight. So trying to get some different matchups and just wrestle some different people. And, I think that's important too. So but Tiger Grizz will be tough.
So Fred, Val, this is just my opinion. I've been to the Reno TOC. I truly believe last weekend, Jaybird and even Raleigh Lane, some of the weights in the girls division were a lot tougher than what you see at Reno this year. And Reno gets All-American top 3. So
yeah, I believe that.
Yeah,
our Idaho
I mean-
right now. So you can look through our rankings. We got 45 women wrestling college. Like 5 of them are ranked right now. Like we're doing all right. So,
and I just saw the girls rankings nationally just came out. There was 4 girls ranked from Idaho in the USA, flow rankings. So have you seen those yet?
no, I haven't seen the new ones.
Yeah, it looked like Kiana Conrad was number 25, Zoe Fries number 20, Elise Twait was number 12, and Amy Hartman number 6. So
Those are all probably too low.
Yeah, agreed.
Say again?
Those are all probably too low.
Too low. I agree. Like I said before, I've worked rankings. They're in a cluster. 20 and 12 are the same thing. So in my opinion, there's no difference.
Yep. A couple of comments to wrap up here, guys. Here's Anthony. Brian, help me out again. Ulagi. Molly coming back 3 weeks post-surgery, looking to make a splash right away. She worked her tail off all summer. We will see. Yes. And then here's Amanda in the chat, guys, giving Fred and Val a shout out. Fred Bartlett. Yes. Love you, Valerie Johansson. And she says, we wish we were going to the Clearwater Classic. Amanda, what school are you? What are you repping? So I know.
She's from Post Falls.
Post Falls. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Post Falls, Emma Younger is her daughter, and then up and coming Gwen Younger, who's in middle school right now. And both outstanding wrestlers and good competitors.
Awesome. Okay. It looks like a pretty good contingent of Washington teams are going to be at that Clearwater Classic. So hopefully we get some new faces, new opponents for some of those teams that are going to be over there.
We wish we were going to that tournament, Amanda. So I can't agree more.
Where are you going this weekend?
So because we have paddle on Friday night, we are kind of hoses us for big tournaments this weekend. So we are girls and boys are off this weekend.
Yeah, I'm with Fred. Looking forward to this weekend on the girls' side to see how Idaho competes with the out-of-state schools. Star Valley walks through the Madison Invitational. They're going to be at Tiger Grizz, so that's going to be fun to see. With a full Idaho contingent of teams there. What happens to Star Valley at the Tiger Grizz? Are they able to win it? Or I kind of think some of the Idaho schools are going to knock some of the individuals out that they had in the finals. There's no doubt about it. So that's going to be fun to watch. And then the Washington schools at the Clearwater. See how Idaho matches up there, and Buhl down at Spring Creek. I mean, all around out-of-state matchups, and we'll see how Idaho squares up.
Yeah, and I know a bunch of North teams are going to the Hellgate tournament there in Montana, Hellgate girls. So that'll be another one to watch for sure to see how they compete against the Montana girls.
Awesome. We're looking forward to all of the great girls competition coming up this weekend. Tiger Grizz will be the headline. Clearwater Classic is going to be great as well. And we'll keep an eye on those out-of-state events as well. And Val and Fred will bring you guys back on next week to dissect all the matchups and talk about how Idaho whooped up on all those other out-of-state teams. How's that sound, Fred?
Sounds great.
All right. Yep, sounds good. Fred Bartlett, Val Johansson, as always, thank you so much for everything you do for the sport of women's wrestling in the state of Idaho. Seriously, we appreciate it so much.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Oh, and here's Clearwater Classic. We were talking about, you're going to have Lewiston, Grangeville, some of those North Idaho teams. Tri-Valley going up to the Clearwater Classic. Okay. Right. We'll see how the Tri-Valley Titans do there. So yes, Fred and Val getting all sorts of love in the comments, as they should. Okay, guys, let's wrap up with kind of a preview of what's going on this weekend in terms of boys competitions. Hey, it's a lot of the same tournaments, right? Tiger Grizz, Clearwater Classic. Wendell is hosting their Magic Valley Classic this weekend as well. The Tiger Brawl in Aberdeen. Homedale's hosting the tournament. Al, where are you going to be at this weekend?
I'm going to be online watching it, so I'll be paying attention online. I don't think I'm going to go. I got some things going on, so I'll have to go look online, watch it.
Okay,
I'll
Brian,
probably be paying attention to the Tiger Grizz and some of the other tournaments. So,
Brian, you're going to be a Tiger Grizz. Yeah.
I'll be a Tiger Grizz. Looks like a good tournament. I think they've got 40 boys teams coming in and 38 girls. So it's a good tournament. Like you said, the out-of-state schools, it's going to be fun to see how they match up. Last year, there were some great matchups with Westlake had some good kids that came in and some great finals matchups. So should be fun as always. Clearwater looks like, it's got about 30 teams. So that one's going to be fun to watch. And then Tiger Brawl, who's the baddest of those small schools. I mean, they've got a few. I think Jerome goes to the Tiger Brawl. So there's a few, 5A schools going as well, but I think they've got 17. So between the 3 tournaments, it's going to be a full weekend of wrestling.
Yes. And I was going to say a lot of those good smaller schools are going to be in Wendell as well. Malad and Rivalry is going to that. We didn't really mention, I forgot to mention the Rivalry Rumble Boys Edition was this past week as well. I'm trying to pull up the final results from that as well, but we know
they didn't keep team scores, so it was kind of interesting there.
Okay, that's it's interesting when I'm trying to look for the team scores, or like I looked at the wrong place last week, so I'm always hesitant now whenever I give those team scores.
Yeah, I didn't see any team scores anywhere. I looked there and I couldn't see it, but some great competition. Some of the mats, you had the top 3 or 4 kids in the 2A division all in the same weight there. So kind of a preview of what we're going to see at that Raleigh. I saw one of the comments, the boys 132, you had Carter Britton, Carter Kimball of Grace, Jack Schwinneman, and Eston Beck of Aberdeen. You had, 4 of the top 6 in that. There it is.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, super solid. Some good preview there. I think it's the first time they held it. So kind of fun.
Yeah. Speaking of those small schools, here's New Plymouth coach Brock Steele, probably the best looking assistant coach. I mean, if we're giving shout outs, right? Yes. We love your shout outs. Shout out your favorite athlete, coach, assistant coach, podcaster. If we do that, Al's going to win in a landslide. Al is far and away the most popular podcaster, for sure.
So going back to the Rockwell Rumble in Utah, Bishop Kelly had 5 kids place.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah,
they had Davis Rayner was 8th at 98. You had Holton Crane was 6th at 6s. Jake Mesher was 7th at 38s. Carlos Valdez 4th at 50s. And then the kid I've been watching, he's a freshman, Samson Castillo, 157s, took 6. He's a tough incoming freshman. Then Chaz Ponton from Mountain View took 7th at 75s. There's another Mountain View there for Utah, but I think he's the only one from our local one that plays. So it looked like that tournament was nails. So
yeah, that's a tough tournament.
Yes.
Al, not only is there a Mountain View Utah, there's a Mountain View Wyoming. Also, it's a very common name for
Mountain View back in California. That's a popular name.
Yeah, it's a common name. For sure. Well, here's Tiffany and Brian in the chat asking the question. They're excited for Tiger Grizz this week. Where is everyone else going? Real quick, we'll do a rapid fire to wrap up. Let us know in the chat what school you're representing and where you're going to be at this weekend. Kind of get an idea of who's going where. For example, David and Michaela Molina from Minico, they're headed to Tiger Grizz. That's going to be fantastic for sure, of course. Chris Hunt, last year's Tiger Grizz finals across the board were wild. Betting it's going to be another crazy tournament as well. So if you want to give us a quick shout out, here's Hoyt and Brock, guys, from Lewiston. I hope to see everyone at the Clearwater Classic in Lewiston, home of the legendary Joe Lee Slider.
No doubt.
Yep, for sure. Here's Brock Steele. New Plymouth is going to be at Wendell. Okay, at that. So really, I mean, New Plymouth, Malad, Ryrie, they're all going to be at that Magic Valley Invite in Wendell. Now that's going to be very telling for those 3A schools.
Yep, looks good.
Perth's going to be at the Magic Valley. Weezer's going to Spring Creek. Here's Coach Blaisdell from Malad. Oh, they're going to split. So some going to Malad, some going to Aberdeen. Okay, great stuff. Let's go Dragons. Here also, Kelly wanted to mention a shout out for Jean-Luc Guerra, 4th at the Rockwell Rumble for Mountain View.
Mountain View, yes, I missed that. So thank you for the correction.
And we had the Canyon Ridge kid, Sean Hall, go down and take 3rd. I think, at the Rockwell.
You're absolutely correct, man.
Yeah.
Look at all the stuff I'm missing.
Come on, Encyclopedia Al misses one once in a while.
Yeah.
I failed.
Post
Good catch, guys.
Yeah, no, you're good, Al. Mike says Post Falls going to both Tiger Grizz and Clearwater. Okay. That'll be interesting to see how that split goes, for sure. And our last shout out to wrap up the show, guys, because we've gone about an hour. We try to keep these to an hour or less. Anthony, help me again with the name, Brian. Alagi. Okay, I'm gonna have to rehearse that. How about the shout out of the many faces of Brian Zollinger, the picture slide last week? If you don't know what we're talking about, you're gonna have to tune in to last week's show on the archive. That's the best part about this, guys. You can tune in. You can tune in to the Matt Chat Prepcast, any of the episodes we've recorded, even going back to a couple of years ago when we first started this. They're all available on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, X account. YouTube's probably going to be the easiest way to find the older episodes if you're going to go that route. So anyways, guys, another exciting edition of the Matt Chat Prepcast is in the books. Al, enjoy your weekend. You're just going to be, I imagine you at home with like 8 screens and you got all the action going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, for sure. Last shout out for me, guys, from Bridget Sagine. Great job on pronouncing it. Yes. Sorry it took so long. And hey, if there's somebody else out there and I'm mispronouncing your child's name, just send me an email, Brandon@IdahoSports.com. I don't take offense. So I'd rather get it right than get it wrong, for sure.
My problem, I think I got the same email on pronunciation, and then I got it before the last show and I still said it wrong. So, my apologies to everybody out there if even after you've told me I get it wrong.
Yep, for sure. Brian, have a good time at Tiger Grizz. I'm looking forward to your report.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It'll be fire. Those finals last year were amazing, and I'm sure it's going to be as good this year. So, and I'll be doing the same as Al. While I'm watching Tiger Grizz, I'll have that Magic Valley up, the Tiger Brawl, and see what's going on there so we can stay on top of things.
For sure. Okay, guys, I want you to tune into the Battle for the Paddle Friday night as well. Give me and Ryan Skaggs some notes on how we do. So
yeah, I'm excited for that. That's going to be fun. So
yeah, it's going to be.
I'm sure you guys will do great, but I'm excited to see how you guys call it. I'm guessing it's going to be better than Flo's coverage, because sometimes I watch their live coverage and I'm like, if they bring in the Big Ten announcers, I think it's great. But other times I'm like, they can find somebody better than that for the play-by-play. So we'll see how you and Skaggs stack up. So it's exciting.
Yes. Skaggs does some of the North Idaho College wrestling. So, I mean, this is a big-time broadcaster for sure. So, okay. Hoyt and Brock, last word here. Thank you for keeping wrestling exciting, fellas. Great to see your smiling faces every week. And really, this is the reason why we do it. For you, the fans, Wrestling Nation, the diehards, as Brian likes to call all of you sickos out there. It is such a pleasure to do this every week. One last request before we head out tonight. If you could hit that like button if you're on Facebook, or the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, or the like button if you're on YouTube, and then share this when it's all said and done. That's going to help everybody who wasn't able to watch this live tonight find this a little easier on replay. Really, the likes and shares, for whatever reason, helps out. And so just takes 2 seconds. If you could do that on the way out, that would be fantastic. For Al Fontes and Brian Zollinger, and our girls experts, Fred Bartlett and Val Johansson, my name is Brandon Baney. Thanks for tuning in to the Matt Chat Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.